How's it going, guys? I look sunburned today. What's up with that? Good morning. Hope everybody is well. I'm not sure how clear my stream is going to be today. I'm hoping that it's going to be okay. My internet's been acting a bit strange, so hopefully it's not too choppy today. All right. Well, uh, a couple of interesting things happened over the course of the last time I saw you guys about 24 hours ago. Uh, so let me bring up my stats page. Now, I actually made a mistake, which cost me about 0.2% profit, which is a bit unfortunate. And I'll get into that now. All right, so you guys know that I was in on a trade on the Euro Japanese yen. All right, so we're gonna load those on the chart now to show you what happened. I'm glad that I can actually do that now. Okay, I don't think it's showing my first order. Hold on. All right. Let me drink some water here so I'm not clearing my throat all freaking morning. No, I don't have a hardline Wi-Fi. I recently got a new computer, but I think I'm returning it because of it has some Wi-Fi issues. I have a 50 megabits per second internet, and it's only getting half of that for some re odd reason. I'm not really sure why. Um, so what we're looking at here is first entry. This was a short position. So you can see my support resistance lines from the previous day. So a short position, it went against me. It got close to hitting my profit, which was this gray pivot point line. Shot up, hit the next resistance point, and reversed. Then my third entry was executed, and I actually put two orders in here at point zero 0.08 lots instead of what I was supposed to do at 0.16. So it was the same difference, just two orders. And those lost as well. So it shot up. So it was in a small range here. And then my third order, or my last order, oh, I forgot to load on the chart. Okay, so my last order was supposed to be 0.32 lots. And I accidentally placed a pending order before I went to sleep. Must have been a little bit tired and messed up and put in 0.16. So I guess it's better to shoot less than more if I was to make a mistake, which I did. I don't make mistakes very often, but sometimes they happen. And in this case, it cost me a little bit in my recovery. So this shot up and hit my take profit point up here at the daily uh, resistance line. So it was about the 33 pips profit up there. Unfortunately, fortunately I came out with some gain at $51, but I did end up losing um, about $30 or so in the process, so which I guess is about 0.3% overall. Um, so this gain that you see here, right here, this 53.51 was supposed to be double, so it was supposed to be 102, about $102 profit. So, you know, unfortunately, sometimes mess ups can happen, and I just didn't hit that one right. So, which is interesting because I actually have it up here set as 30.32. I'm not really sure why my pending order went in at just 6.16. Anyways, it's an unfortunate mistake, but it didn't cost me too much, and I'm okay with the result. Um, so you may be asking, why am I doing this? It's similar to what Joe Pro does. We know that Joe Pro is making a name for himself, and he has been for a while. Um, and what's interesting is that I guess I've been talking with him for a bit, and realized that I already had a similar or very close to the same money management strategy on using a US broker, and currently making that into an EA right now. Um, the only problem with Joe, or the difference is that I have to close out orders um, instead of holding on to them. So, for example, he would typically hold on to all of these orders until this one eventually hits profit. So he would, but as you guys know, I can't hedge. I can't hedge OANDA. So I can't hold on to these past orders and then have this one close out in profit, and then come out with an overall basket in profit. Uh, Unfortunately, I can't do that with OANDA. So I have to close out each individual trade. So it will come out as a balance loss on each loss. So this one here was all three of these were losing trades. And then this one was a winning trade, which made up for all of these losing trades, and we'd come out with profit because the risk is a bit more. It's very similar to what Joe does, and it's just in a different way to make it work with this kind of broker. I mean, there's a lot of differences, guys. There's a ton of differences in what he does and what I'm doing here. We're not going to have the same systems by any means. Um, and the executions will be different. The system's different. The trend system that I'm using is different. All the indicators that I'm using are pretty much different than what he does. But there will be some similarities in how we approach the market. So what happened was I already had the money management written into an EA. I had it done 2 years ago. Um, but I didn't bother thinking about putting it or combining it with a system, with a trend system, and that was my mistake. And it's just sometimes it takes something like a light bulb in order, that light bulb idea where something clicks and you put two and two together, and then you have something pretty powerful. Um, so what we're doing here is basically a little, it's I guess a smaller change or a change to how I'm approaching this. So typically I would put in a short position, and if it went against me, I'd put in another short position. It went against me, I put in another short, and continue to keep writing that. But there's a problem with that where if it continues to keep going against me and pushes up in a big way, like it kind of is now, as you can see, we have the this type of movement, and it's continuing to push up, then I can get stuck in this. Luckily, in this case, there was a pullback here, and I would have been out in this in particular case. Um, but if this did ride up without much pullback, I would be in trouble. So what this does, what this helps is on the pullbacks. If the pullbacks are not big enough, typically I would be in trouble. But if they're big, that's fine. If they're smaller on the pullbacks, that's also fine. So it kind of covers me in a very in pretty much every environment. Now, like Joe was saying, that there we are a little bit prone to a ranging market. But if the strategy can adapt to how price is moving, so depending on how much movement for that day, which is called the ADR, then we can adapt to that price by not getting stuck into a range. Uh, so let's see what questions are coming in, just in case anything is being asked to me. Joe Pro doesn't have a signal yet, but he has a MAM account that he's starting. I'm not sure if that's going to work for you, Robert, since you're in the U.S. But uh, but pretty soon I'm going to have something similar that works for the US. Um, but yeah, if you want to, I guess wait out. But you could probably always relocate some funds overseas if you really wanted to do that. Um, but yeah, I guess that's what I have to say on that. Okay, so what we're looking at now. I know Jenny is in this in the GJ, and I'm not sure how heavy she's in it right now, but she's looking for it to push down. And similar thing what I'm looking at right now as well. I saw that the GJ, if we're looking on the 4-hour chart, we can see it's kind of a mess, especially in the recent time. It's been kind of in a small range. Hasn't It's been creeping up in a little bit. And the way how we're looking at that is with looking at the swing levels. And for the most part, they're creeping up in a slow move. That's on the 4-hour. But if you scroll out a little bit, you'll still see that the overall picture is still down on the pound, and it has been since August on the pound Japanese yen. Now, if we go to the daily chart, way different picture. Look at this. It's completely down. There's a lot more room, looks like, to move down, especially since the flash crash that happened. So daily, it's definitely down. The 4-hour, maybe a bit mixed and slowly creeping up. potentially, and right now it's also up on the 1 hour. But I saw this resistance point here at the top, and I took it. I saw this candle, so the one that's bullish with the big wick on the top, how it went to that point and bounced back down. Later on, it creeped up again, hit that same point, and it kind of pulled back. It didn't break through, so I felt like that was a pretty good area, a pretty good time to jump in. And so far, I've been right. We'll see if it continues down from there. My take profit is about 104 pips, so I will hold on to that for as long as I can, depending on how long it takes for that move to happen. Yeah, Joe Pro, you should definitely send Robert FX your info. He's a good guy. Uh, Jenny, you rarely respond to any of the questions that I ask. I'm not really sure why that is. But anyways, yeah, I'm definitely involving you here on this GJ because I believe that you're in it. I do feel like this has more to go. My take profit is at 1275. So what 1275. So my well, I said it was 104 pips, but it's actually just 78 pips. Profit is what I'm looking for. Uh, the retracement down from the peak. I mean, I'm looking at it at the daily pivot. Uh, so it's a question will take profit because it actually could bounce before that. I'm going to be looking at the price action on the 1 hour and maybe even on the 15 minute. Once it gets closer to that level, so once it gets closer to 1275, I'll be looking to see if it's going to make a higher low. So look at right here. So the first on the 1 hour swing low, lowest low here, higher low, and then a higher low here. So if this is going to continue, we're also looking at the higher highs. Uh, then we could see it bouncing in this area and shooting back up. Um, right now we're at the whole number, which it could bounce right here. It's questionable. Since we're at the whole number, it could bounce back up from here and break the highest, our last highest high right here. Uh, it seems like if we're looking, let's see what the 15 minutes showing. Maybe we can get some hints on the 15 minute. All right, so if we scroll out, we can see how the price reacted to that the 1284 level, and we see not a lot of hints yet in here as an indication of this moving further down. I'm not going to scroll down to the 15-minute the 5-minute time frame as I don't think it's going to be very helpful. So the most likely places for the pound to bounce back up and continue its move, if it's going to continue its move, are these two places. So 127, whole number, and 1275. Could easily bounce right here. I'm actually considering pulling it out when I come in and start doing some analysis on this to see where the potential for it going is. I see potential for a bounce, a continuation here. Let's see if there's any news coming out to help sustain us holding onto this. Now the GDP was positive back about 5 hours ago. I don't think there's any news for tomorrow. There's also not a whole lot of big news for Japan for the yen either. There's some medium impact news here tomorrow, or that's today. So later on today. That could help the situation, but I don't know. Tricky call here. I'll see how it plays out. If I would like for this candle to close below the whole number, or at least the support resistance point at 127 128. So I might base my holding onto my position on this candle. Okay, so yeah, that's right. I was going to tell you guys about my trades on the Euro US dollar for those of you that were watching yesterday. All right, so what we had here is order one and order two. Excuse me, order one, then order two. So order one was a pretty good entry, as you can see. Jumped up, went back down. I entered a second position to try to ride the movement, or excuse me, the Euro USD back down. We had a reversal or a retracement on that push, um, and now it's in a tighter range. So I closed out in a small profit. I came out with minus 284 on the second trade and 764 profit on the first. So overall, I came out with a profit on those two trades. Unfortunately, it could have been more if it kept going down, but I closed it out with a bit more profit than I had set. I closed it out a bit early, which ended up being a good idea. Now, good trade ideas to take today. Uh, Not so sure about the pound yet. I think it's too late for you to enter on the pushback down. I'm not sure how much profit Jenny's looking for, where her take profit is. Um, but since we're at a whole number, it's best that you probably wait to see how the price behaves at that level. So we're gonna just go through the pairs to see what's good at this point to take. So pound USD, we're looking at the daily, it's down. We're looking at the 4-hour, it's down. It is in a bit of a range in here, uh, but it's still making its way down, making new lows. It's just a lot less volatile, but it looks a lot less volatile, although it's still moving pretty fine, just in comparison to the 1,140 pips drop that happened uh, back a couple weeks ago. Uh, so we've had a nice recovery on the pound, a nice bounce back up. It hasn't really found resistance yet at this point. I thought it might hold here. It did have a pushback, and then it did break that high, uh, but it seems to be pushing back down. Now the pivot point at 122, which is the whole number, is acting like it's unsure here. Also could bounce. Not good for me holding my pound Japanese yen trade. Why is because I'm seeing a whole number, pivot point, whole number on the pound USD. So the crosses are so the major is not looking great for the crosses. That means if the pound USD is going to decide to jump from there, this also could decide to jump from this support from this previously resistance point, but now support. So let's go since we're talking about pound pairs. Let's go to the pound Australian dollar. The pound Australian dollar, good resistance. It actually did hold up there and shot back down. And currently at at a less significant number of 1.604. Um, but not a lot of hints going on right now with this pair in price action at least. But when it comes to the GJ and pound USD, yeah, it's not looking amazing. I'm going to probably decide if I'm holding on to this trade or not in the next 4 minutes or so. This is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing this bounce from here, break this here at the same level, 122, looking like it's maybe going to pull up right above the daily pivot level, and with the potential to move up more from there. Doesn't mean that it will obey and it will actually move from there, but it's not looking amazing for it continuing to push down. So let's talk about the fundamental side real quickly. So we had the news that came out about 5 hours ago. It was positive, positive pound, so that's why we're getting a little bit of a push right now um, against other pairs. So that's a pretty good number, and we don't have we don't have any more really big news in the pound the rest of the week. So with that being said, I still find that the pound, with positive news and that it has to ride on for the rest of the week, that this could potentially find the support it needs at the daily pivot and shoot up more. Uh, so unfortunately, not great for Jenny, especially if this does not close a bit lower. I want it to close maybe another 10 to 15 pips, and we only have 2 minutes to do that. So yeah, I believe that the push uh, or that the push up on the pound is not finished yet. If depending on what happens in the next minute, which is very unlikely that we're going to see any really big changes. If anything, this might be a pretty good place to buy the pound right here, because when it comes to price action, it's looking pretty good. We're having higher highs, new higher lows, uh, and breaks at these levels. And then we have this is very, very small range here, but we are getting potentially a double low uh, or a double bottom here within the trend. All right, so we got just about 20 seconds left. Look at this candle though. Look how this line. Look how much it's just riding on that line. It's a pretty good little indicator. This little indicator, it's showing that this how important this level is. All right, so I'm gonna close this out. Okay. So we had the close above, and we'll see how this candle reacts. How I would bet it would is a push down and then a wick. So something similar to that, and then I'll continue to push back up. So that's just a call. I obviously could be wrong, but I thought it better considering the circumstances, considering a couple of things. The news that happened 5 hours ago, the price action showing on the pound USD. So that's multiple pound pairs showing that price action that price could raise higher on the pound, or that the pound could gain some more value, or the retracement is finished. So this retracement, that I'm talking about here, could be done right here and then a push back up. And it's not just showing on one of the three pairs that I have. It's showing on two of them. The pound Australian dollar, a little less. It's a little harder to read what's happening here in the price action. I mean, as a picture here, as a whole. But the pound Japanese yen and pound USD are in agreement on a potential move up here. All right. Uh, so moving on from the pound, uh, I think that if you're short pound and you were near the top like I was, it might be a good time to pull out of it. If you're short and need more, I mean, you have no choice but to hold on to it. So good luck, Jenny. Uh, so next is the odd cat. Now, I like this. I like this trade a lot, and this is my trade of choice for today. And I can't take it. I would be basically hedging. I wouldn't be hedging. I'd be in the same order on the euro Australian dollar uh, and on the odd Australian cat. So I'd be buying odd Australian dollars on the euro odd, and I'd be buying Australian dollars on the odd CAD. I don't know if if that's the smartest idea. I am interested in doing it. I may decide to do it because of how I like this, how good this trade looks right now. If what the hell, I'm gonna do it. Um, so why did I take it? Okay, let me get into that. I wanted to take it earlier rather than later. The trend on the 4-hour chart, the trend on the 1-hour chart, and the trend on the daily chart. It's really strong on all of those time frames. Um, so I see the move up is strong. I see that the price action is at a daily support level, which is at 1.01753. And looking at the candlesticks at that level, I see, let me zoom in. This is what I see happening. I see the push down to my support level. And there's a small wick on the first candle. All right, small wick here. And then on the second candle, push down, but it didn't pull back up and closed above. And so a nice indication that this is a support level that could be holding or could show some more movement up. Same thing on the next candle. The wick in the body of the candle is still above the support level. So I'm going to wait it out here to see if this will push up. And my take profit is going to be the daily pivot level, which is 102.299, or just 300, so 0.023. So I'm going to put my take profit to that level, double check it, make sure that it's a pretty decent level to be taking profit. The Australian dollar has been, the odd CAD has been just on a huge run. Now, the only hint I can get in most recent time, I mean, the last time it was up there was a long time ago. So my take profit is right near, it's a pretty good level. I mean, if we're going all the way back to June, and this is what I'm saying here. I'm also saying it acted as a resistance line, a resistance point, resistance, and then the most recent data on the 1 hour at least, small resistance. So let's see what's happening on our pound Japanese yen. It has pulled down a bit more, but we'll see if it continues down. Now it was precautionary. It doesn't mean that, like I said before, it doesn't mean it can't continue to push down. But I did feel like it was best for me to pull out my trade because of how things were looking. Okay. All right. Let's see. Running Alcad had already triggered on my account before you ever placed shares. Did you have a pending? No, I did not have a pending order. I've just been watching it. I could have placed a pending order a long time ago. I could have placed it, the pending order back 5 hours ago, and it would have been executed. I decided to hold it out. I wasn't really sure about taking it because I was already in on the Euro Australian dollar. There's not a whole lot of extra news coming out this week for the Australian dollar, so I'm not expecting huge drastic movements, um, or something or too crazy of activity. So I don't mind holding on to the two positions. They're low risk, and I should be able to withstand it too much of activity. So I don't mind holding on to the. Well, I'm just delayed at looking at the comments, Joe. It's actually only like an 8-second delay, so it's not too bad. All right, the AUD not as pretty as the AUD. We're looking at the larger daily time frame, and we can see that it's slowly creeping up, similar to what the pound USD is doing on the 4 hour. So slow creep, um, and on at least on the daily. On the 4 hour, a little more messy. Uh, it, this whole area is a little tricky to decipher what's happening in here. If you're gonna just base it off of this, you can see you can look at the swing levels. The thing why it's tricky in here because there are so many different swing levels. I mean, if I was pointing them all out, we'd have a ton of them, and they're so small. It's really tricky when there's this many to really figure out what's happening in this whole area. So on the 4 hour, it doesn't look very great. On the 1 hour, on the daily, it's slowly going up. On the 1 hour, yeah, it's not looking amazing for this to continue up either. Well, we see the last swing levels. They look pretty good. This is a push up. Then this happened. This is supposed to be a smaller retracement. It was much larger. It broke through uh, the level here, and it continued down, and finally eventually found support uh, at the 76 level, and then pushed back up from there. The thing that's concerning is that the AUD didn't break the last swing high. It made a lower high, which indicates that it could be going now, starting a downtrend. How that will be confirmed to me, well, if we're pointing out the last swing levels, so the highest high, low point where it bounced, and then a new lower high. This will be where we want to see what happens next. If it breaks, if we have a break of the swing at 76, so if this pushes down and we have a candle close below that level, that means that this is more likely to be starting a push on the downside. According to swing levels, there's a lot of other things that could be in consideration. I mean, you could look at the start of a trend line, something like that. If this goes down or it continues to creep down and then shoots up from there, and you could say that something like that starts forming. Um, that's always possible as well. But the first signs to me of this uh, starting a down movement is if this 76 is broken. All right. So when he took the trade, it didn't show on the stream yet. Oh, I see. Okay, so the euro US dollar outlook on that. So daily down. Daily's down. In the recent daily, overall picture maybe it hasn't been as much. Well, it's pretty down. Um, it's been down since April 9th, and it's been on its way down. April 9th of 2014. So That's a long ways from a long time from now. On the 4 hour, it's definitely been down. If we're looking at the bigger picture, I mean, the candle, you can't really see the candlesticks, but the Brexit swing level that it bounced off of has now been officially broken, and it's been broken for a while. And so downtrend on the daily, downtrend on the 4 hour, and downtrend on the 1 hour. I do think this will continue. Uh, we are currently in a retracement and have been since October 25th. So this could extend a bit more, but I do think the overall picture it will still be down. Um, Trend could change for a bit on the 1 hour, at least not with my MA indicator. It's changed on the upward side. Okay, so I believe I'm back now. I'm not sure how solid my internet's going to be. Um, so sorry guys about that. As you can see, I have two internet connections. I have a 2.4 gigahertz and a 5 gigahertz. For some reason, I'm having a miscommunication with the two, and my computer keeps trying to connect to both of them, or it loses connection on one and it tries to connect to the other. It's a big confusing mess. I'll figure it out soon. So sorry about that. Okay, so what I was saying is the euro may have more to go up on the upside from here. Uh, we have a double top swing level on its way up. And right now at the pivot level, it's looking like it could find some support there and continue its push up. So look at the swing high to see if a candle closes below that above that level, it could continue on the upside. Okay. So overall picture on the euro US dollar is down. I may take a position, a sell or short position up at 10944, so right near the half number, 1.095, and then try to ride that back down. Right now I'm going to wait it out, so that's about another 30 pips or so. Okay, the US dollar Japanese yen. On the daily, it's been down, but if you look at the recent on the daily, you'll see the swing, the last swing high. We have the low down here. It's been hit so many times. Uh, we have the lower high here, and but the support kept getting hit, and it did eventually bounce. It broke that swing level, closed above it, and is now creeping up. That's on the daily. So the trend on the daily may have just started, or recently started pushing up. On the 4 hour, it's definitely up, and it has been since September 26th. New highs have been made, um, and on the 1 hour, also up, and it just recently broke a new swing level as well. So this trend is continuing. If you want a counter trend, you can look at maybe taking it at whole and half numbers, like similar to where it is now. It's right near the whole number at 105. So maybe a good place to enter on a pullback. Um, that's only about 7 pips out. And my support level or resistance level is at right near the resistance at 105. Mine is pushing 104.987. So it could be a good place to enter a short position. Don't enter too heavy, as you don't want, if it's against the trend, you want to make sure that you can withstand it. Uh, Mark RMC Cartney, I love uh, your MyFX book. title. It's fantastic. Mary Pippins. That is just that's pretty that's pretty awesome. Good job on the wordplay there. Okay. Uh, so the pound, the euro Japanese yen. I pulled out my trade. I could have left it in a little bit longer, but I didn't. I wanted to make sure that I was out when I should be. It's continuing up, and I feel like the picture on that one is similar to the euro US dollar, where it's down on the daily. It is mixed on the 4-hour chart. When I say mixed, is because if I scroll out, I see the resistance, the support here at the 112 or 113 or near 113, and then the resistance up here. So it's in a little bit of a range, and it has been since August. Uh, so mixed on the 4-hour, down on the daily, and also a bit mixed on the 1-hour. So maybe not quite as good, although it's been down on the 1-hour since October 6th. It's been pushing down, and it's been making some pretty good levels. Some good price action uh, on the way down. It should follow closely to the euro US dollar, but the euro is making a pretty big recovery, and the yen, or the euro is on the pullback or retracement, and the yen is still bouncing up. Um, the yen and the euro USD are a lot of times correlated, so when one is moving down, the other is moving up. But in the recent time, they're both moving up. All right, so the euro Japanese yen is really making a big push because of that, and that could be limited. The euro US dollar is kind of at a crossroads right now, whether it's going to shoot up from this point or push down. It's at the daily pivot, so it could easily find support there and push up, or break that level. But right now, it's acting like it's following the support here and will push farther up. In that case, there's always that potential that the yen could start uh, working with the correlation and push down from there. We are near that whole number at 105, so the push on the euro Japanese yen or could be limited. Right now, it's at half number. Nothing really substantial yet. Uh, I find that maybe a valid support, a resistance point, which could be a bit higher. But nothing I'm really looking at right now on the euro Japanese yen. It's not at a good place for either buying or selling, in my opinion. Okay, euro Japanese yen. It's been up on the 4-hour, especially since September 19th. On the daily it is down. 1 hour, it's up. So in recent time, it's been on the upside. Uh, so I'd probably be more keen to taking some positions since the 4-hour and 1 hour are up. I'd probably look at the support levels, or price action to see where a good place to enter some trades are. So let's try to figure that out now. It's pushed back down. It's already in a retracement. It's past the pivot line. It's actually used the pivot line right now as a potential push on the downside. The pivot line, if it's sorry, the support line at 79,387. Is it substantial? I don't know yet. It looks like it's okay. It doesn't look like it's huge. The levels that I would mark down. Are these levels? And you can see that it's kind of stuck in this range right now, uh, in that box that I just made. So let's see if we can get out of this tight little corridor here and then push down. Uh, although this is where my indicator is showing as a support line, I find this one probably to be a better one. It's closer to the hold number. There's a little bit more play there. Now this support line is being shown just in case this uptrend continues. So it's looking for support there. So if we're looking at the swing levels, here, let me remove these now so you're not getting confused by them. So swing levels, you can see that it's moving up, and then a swing level here. So this could still be a swing level that includes, it's like right in between both these two. And if it does bounce down and shoot up from there, it would still be in its upward trend as a whole. So this could be active. I still like this. I still like just below it better. So pretty much yesterday's support line, which is right here. All right, so not much action on the odd Japanese yen. It could continue up, but it is in that tighter range, like I was just recently showing. Not a good trade opportunity there. CAD Japanese yen. Down on the daily. Down on the 4-hour. Bit mixed recently in here, with the support level in particular right here. That could cause a bit more confusion. But the bigger picture I'm looking at is the break of the swing level here. The high, lower high, support, lower high, with the potential for this to continue down. That's in the 4-hour. So right now, this could be a pretty good place to enter. It's a bit tricky because what we're, though, it maybe not a fantastic trade. I mean, you could even do, that's even just in the recent, you could do something like that. You could do this. And so it's in this, the range is shrinking. And right now, we're looking at a possible pivot on the pushing down, but it's definitely in a cone pattern here, at least in my opinion, and which causes some insecurity on unsure market action here. It's best probably to take a short, but be limited on your take profit. I would definitely look at that as potential. So this candle, this 1-hour candle, closing below the R1. So that's at 78.4. That is to me a pretty good indication for more downward movement. My take profit would be limited to just 28 pips at 78.120. I may take this position depending on what happens on that candle in the next 30 minutes. So I'm looking for a candle close below the 78.4 level. Right now, the Euro Australian dollar is not looking great for me. It's pushing up against me. The Euro is strong right now, or it's still in its recovery. We're seeing a little less of that on the Euro USD as it's hesitant. In particular, the reason why is because the US data this morning at 8:30 was positive USD. So that's Friday. We had housing, I think, data today. Yeah. So the housing data was not necessarily positive. It was neutral, but it's not negative. So it did jump down, or a bit in the last couple hours. It did push down a bit, not a lot. So the push down is definitely limited, and it's showing on the crosses. So the Euro Japanese yen still pushing up. The Euro Australian dollar still pushing up. And so it's only a matter of time before the Euro US dollar falls. Coco, just now seeing your US dollar Japanese yen appears to be cooking a sell. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I talked about that about 6 minutes ago. Uh, where we're near a whole number, and it's overdone, the push on the UJ. Now overdone doesn't mean that we'll stop by any means at that whole number, but it might be a good place to consider countering that trend, uh, though. All right, so the last trade I was talking about was the Euro Australian dollar. Now, how I'm playing this, I entered at 1433, and my second entry is at it's 58 pips above at 43,918, so right near the whole number up there. Now I'm going to be entering on the buy, so that's a buy stop. So that is if the euro continues this push up, I'll be okay. And I'll be looking for, since the spacing between trade one and trade two is 58 pips, that means that that will be my grid for the recovery, since I'm wrong on this trade. And basically my stop loss will be up here, and I'll enter at higher risks, 0.08 compared to 0.04, and shooting for and looking for the pair to continue up. If it doesn't and shoots back down, then I'll look for a short position, and I'll be looking at 0.16 lots on the way down, looking for 58 pips on the other side. Okay. So we'll see. I've got some room. I still have some room left to go before it hits that point. It's still about 25 pips away. So we'll wait to see how it reacts. So if I'm trying to get some hints from the other pairs, Euro US dollar not giving me much. It's actually looking more like it's going to push up. The Euro Japanese yen, also no really big hints here. It's pushing up. It did pass the resistance point already, with no hints now on where it's going to stop, at least with the candlesticks on the 1 hour. So don't really know. I don't really have a whole lot of hints on yet on how this is going to behave here. It could reverse. Just have to wait and see, but I feel like I'm controlled here. It should be okay. So take profit is set at 104 pips. So it's a pretty big take profit. It's possible that I may close before that, depending on how price action behaves on that way down if it decides to go down. Okay. Let's see, and it will definitely change for sure. It will for sure change if my buy stop is executed. Then I'll be looking for 58 pips as the recovery on either side. You guys may not be able to make sense of what I'm doing here, but uh, just follow along. That's why I'm here every day. You can see how the outcome is. Okay. So the yen, the pound Japanese yen. Look what's happened here. Exactly what I said is going against right now. So I mentioned that a good place to get out was here. I think that's where I exited. And it's pushed down more since then. It's pushed down a good 30 pips. And the pound USD also has. Now, like I was telling before, I'm fine admitting that I was wrong, right here. It still could bounce at any point, but yeah, I was wrong in saying, or I was wrong in my guess on this acting as a level of support and pushing up. But as traders, we don't really know what's going to happen. Now we have educated guesses, and based on what I could see happening here, it was probably a good place for me to exit out because it could easily have shot up from there. All right, so considering the fundamental and the technical side, I think it was a good call. I'm not crying over it. I'm not crying that I missed out on pips here, even though my take profit was quite a bit lower than that. I did it, and I'm happy with my decision because I feel like it was the right decision for at least my case. Okay. Let's see. So we'll see what happens over the long term, or the longer term. this will still act as a support if this candle pulls up in a big way and does shoot up from there. Just don't know yet. All right. The last couple pairs that we have are the USD CAD and the Euro CAD, and then I'm going to finish for the day. So push up on the 1 hour. On the 4 hour, it's been up as well, even on the longer picture. The daily, it had a huge pullback here and then a push up. It's gradually it's a creep up situation as well. It does look pretty nice though, with mostly a good swing levels, uh, and on the way back up. So the daily is looking pretty good for buying pressure. The 4 hour also buying pressure, and the 1 hour the same, same situation. All right, so what we're looking at currently is it may be using the daily pivot for a support at 133.5. About we are getting currently a kickback. There is a lot of resistance at the peak of this entire push. So right at 33.8. We were hit here, here. It was hit again, and now it's bouncing back currently. All right, so a little bit of not a good area for trading yet. I wouldn't use the pivot point as a place to buy just yet. I want more of a pullback, probably to the daily S1. So in here, or a little bit lower down. This has a lot of retracement potential from this point, and it has a lot of room too to continue its push in any of these places here. So hold out on that pair. It's not great for any trades. If anything, it's probably better for a short position because we do have a triple top type of situation, at least a double top types of situation going on. So counter trend, it may be a good opportunity, but for trend trading, not yet. Okay, last pair, I think. I already talked about the euro, the pound Australian dollar, and the pound CAD. Euro CAD, also trending. Daily, it's up. Looking at how do I know it's up? I'm looking at these. Looking at the low areas, it's in a slant. Although the highs are a bit of a mess in the past. But I'm looking at the lowers and I'm seeing a smaller move on the upside. Daily, the 4 hour. It's a bit more messy in the 4 hour. Recent time since October 18th, it's been up. In the 1 hour, it's also up. Same time, October 18th, it's been in a nice controlled push up. Okay, not much of a kickback yet. I would wait for more of a kickback down before continuing that. All right. So if anything, a counter trend trade may be in the works before long. It's pushing up. The CAD is currently. Not really sure why there's not a lot of news that's come out. Let's see if there's any. Okay, so not much going on. Looks like the euro is pushing up in a pretty big way. Yeah. So the euro is making a push unless the USD is hitting. It looks like the euro is making this push right now because it's moving on all pairs. So I'm getting pretty close to my stop loss and an order re-entry here. Yeah, that's definitely a euro push. as USD CAD's not moving, and the odd USD is not really moving much either. Okay, I want the pound pound CAD has been down on the 1 hour, slightly. It's also creeping up on the 4 hour in the recently, but it's been pushing down in the bigger picture. Daily, definitely down, as we all know. The pound has been getting hit hard. Pretty good clean levels here. There was a break here at this level. Did find support at the previous at one near 1.615, and it did push up and broke the swing high at 1.635. Right now, I'd want a more of a pullback to the support at 1.627, and then a potential continued push back up. No trades yet on the pound. If any, the pound CAD. If anything, I'd wait for another push, a bit of a push more down, and with the potential to catch this up on the upside. Pound's had a lot of pressure on the selling side. I'm not really sure if buying the pound is a great idea at this point. Okay. So we're getting many questions in regards to what I'm talking about today. That's fine. Let's see if there's anything on YouTube. Good to see you, Diego. Just saw your comment, so hopefully you're still watching. So nothing much on YouTube. If you guys don't have any questions for me, I think that might be it for today. I'm just about to enter into another pound euro Australian dollar trade. That's about 10 pips away. I'll come out with a smaller loss, and then move on from there. Okay. What's the other trade? So we're looking at the odd CAD. So the odd CAD is pushing a bit more down. We still don't know if this is going to hold or not. I'm going to put in my pending order before I end here. Sell stop. So the nice thing at Oanda is that if this does push down and hit this level, my first order, so my first buy at 0.04 lots will automatically close out, and this order will go in. Okay. All right, guys. I think that's pretty much it for today. I'll see you tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time for Friday session. We'll see if there's any volatility. There's not a lot of news going on, so I'm not expecting a ton to happen there. And we'll close out the end of the week and see how we're doing. Right now, my stats are looking, I'm still in the recovery process. I'm still up for 0.38% for the week. I did mess up a trade. It caused a small loss of my profit this week, but it's still looking overall pretty good. We're down 1%, unfortunately, and it's been rough, as I've been talking about already. Making some changes, and those changes should be in effect now. So the next month or two are going to be pretty important for me to see how things pull out, and if I can stop the bleed down. So I'm fine with you guys watching and telling my process of going about the whole situation. So anyways, that being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and good luck.